This episode has been brought to you by Manscaped. The new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is every man's cheat code to look good, feel good, and turn the page on confidence this year. Go to manscaped.com, use the code GULCH20 for 20% off plus free shipping today. This week on the Heart of the Gulch YouTube show, we sit down with founder and co-owner of the Nashville Guru, Abby Flittner. In today's Walk the Line episode, Abby goes to Read PR for her episode of Flip the Script, and then we head down to the Gulch as the Nashville Guru celebrates a full circle moment. Let's check out the episode. We are in the heart of the Gulch. I'm your host, Tony Mendoza, and today I got my friend on the show. And not only that, I'm really excited because for all those folks that are looking to come to Nashville, are transitioning out of a new city, moving to this amazing city, you probably have checked out this website. Well, we got the founder, the co-owner of the Nashville Guru. We got Abby Flittner in the building.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Abby, I am super excited. I'll let the fans know ahead of time. I'm very transparent with them. We filmed in early March-ish.
Yeah.
And man, since then, I've gotten to know you a little better. And you're a superstar mom.
I don't know about superstar mom, but I do have 3 kids and it's a lot. So we're trying to do it all.
Well, speaking of trying to do it all, let's talk about, that transition. What was it in you to, create something that was going to help so many people down the line?
Yeah. So I grew up here in Nashville. I've been here since 4th grade, like 95. And I went to college at UT Knoxville and then came back, and Nashville wasn't at the time somewhere like you came back from college and was like cool to come back to. Everyone like was doing New York or LA. And so we came back and we lived in the Gulch, and I was like, Nashville's really cool. And a lot of these insane pockets are forming, like these little neighborhoods, Josh and I just kind of got on this. Josh is my husband and the co-founder.
Shout out to Josh. What's up, Josh?
Love Josh. And so he's sort of behind the scenes, but he was doing some web design, and I was like, why don't we do our own website? And so we kind of got really integrated into this guy named Pat Flynn. He was doing Smart Passive Income. It's a podcast. It was the first podcast I had ever heard of. This was like 2009, 2010. Mm-hmm. So anyway, we started Gulch Guru and just said, let's give ourselves a shot. And then I quit my job at the bank, like within a year. We got married and we're still doing it.
Oh my gosh. That is, all right. So you broke down a lot right there. Yeah. And first of all, the Gulch just isn't the same from when it was in 2010 and beyond. I mean, talk to me what the Gulch was like early on before it became, this civilization with the wings and you name it.
There were several restaurants and things, but it was nothing like it is today. Nothing. So we just were really excited to be in that neighborhood, and we wanted to know like the restaurants that were opening. We were Instagram, I think, started in 2010. So like taking a phone into a restaurant and taking a picture of your food or of the restaurant was insane. Like we looked like crazy people. So that's what we did. We took our like horrible phones. I mean, if I scroll back on Instagram and look at some of our first posts, I'm like so embarrassed, but also that's what we started with, were these pixelated, crazy like food and interior photos.
I mean, that was before the wave of what it is today, right? We think about platforms like Instagram doing Reels. TikTok is taking over the world today. And, everyone doesn't realize that before all that, you had the domain. I mean, it's crazy to think that there's people out there that are looking at TikTok that have never searched up a recipe from a website.
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of wild that,
wild.
It just shows that we're getting older.
Yeah.
But
showing our age.
Exactly.
But that's okay.
When you think about, today and how times have changed, how were you able to so seamlessly kind of fall into where Nashville Guru is today?
Well, everything has changed. And at the beginning, because we still are, but we were so focused on the neighborhoods because each neighborhood has such a unique thing, right? Like 12 South is so different from East Nashville, and the Nations is so different from the Gulch. And so we actually had 15 different websites that we were updating, and they were neighborhood based. So it was like East Nashville Guru, Gulch Guru, 12 South Guru. It was a lot of work. And so in 2014 is when we combined it into kind of what you see today as one website. And we were scared to do it because we didn't know how Google would react if we would get the same traffic that we had. But it ended up being better than ever. And so now, instead of doing massive redesigns, we just kind of tweak things as we need to. But I'll be honest, it's hard to keep up with the algorithm changes. The industry's changing a lot. Like, influencers came in and that changed things. That changed where marketing budgets went. You kind of just have to be fluid and go with the flow and figure out what people want.
Have to adapt quickly, especially on the internet. Speaking of when you're talking about the neighborhoods, right? So I'm excited to talk a little bit more in depth about the neighborhoods real quick. When you had it originally, the Nashville Guru with all these different neighborhoods, right? The Nation's Guru, right? I'm guessing that's what it was called. Which one besides downtown had the most traffic going to it?
Still today, it's East Nashville. I think just because of the size. So like downtown East, Gulch, and 12 South continue to kind of be our four that do the best.
What would you say? So, let's pick 4 neighborhoods in Nashville. And what's your favorite thing or thing to do in those neighborhoods? So let's start with East Nashville.
East Nashville, I like to go like Riverside Village. I like that the soft serve, the station thing, like where you get ice cream and there's a kid's store next door. So we do that some. Cafe Rose over there is amazing. But I just like East Side because it's so unique and you can pop into vintage stores and do things that you can't do in every neighborhood.
Absolutely. Let's talk about 12 South.
Well, 12 South's my hood, so that is like my stomping ground. We do farmers market, Frice Cream, Burger Up. We're at Burger Up once a week.
Love Burger Up.
We can walk, so that's our natural thing. Ladybird, taco.
Shout out to Ladybird.
Yeah, love Ladybird. And then they just opened one on East, so that's cool too.
It's going through a transition right now, and it seems like there's going to be so much more development, and it just doesn't look like how it looked when I first moved 4 years ago. Are you pro against that? How do you feel about that being the Nashville Guru?
Well, we started our brand focusing pretty much solely on local businesses, and that's harder to do now. That's the one thing I've noticed. I don't like that local businesses can't afford the rent hikes. That really bothers me. Like, we just lost Halcyon Bike Shop. That was like a neighborhood vibe, right? And I don't know why they moved. I mean, they're moving to another location. They're going to open and be fine. But, there are parts of the neighborhood that are going away that gave you that feel. But overall, I think, competition is good for business. Yeah. And as long as it's not all corporate chains, I'm okay with it.
Speaking of business, I mean, how challenging was it to grow this business? Because, you are now, like I said, when I started the show, you're an amazing mom. I mean, what's it like, being, a female operating a business in today's world and also juggling so much to do with a family as well?
I think sometimes it's easier when it's your own business in some ways because you can work in the middle of the night instead of your typical 8 to 5 hours where you have to be in an office. So if my kid is sick, I can be home or Josh can be home and then I can work from 8 p.m. to midnight, So in some ways it's easier. In some ways it's harder because I'm like, we're earning every dollar. I don't have a paycheck coming through unless I'm working and getting new advertisers and getting people on the site and making sure the site's growing and it's what people want. So it's a lot of pressure. But overall, the business has been really good to us and I can't complain. The beginning was hard, like any business. It was really hard and challenging. And there were days, months I wanted to give up. I mean, we didn't make money for 3 years. People had their first corporate job, like they were bringing home some money. And Josh and I would share an entree and order like maybe not even a drink, like water, and then, we were just scrappy.
I love where this is going because there's someone that's watching this right now that's afraid to make that jump, afraid to start a business, whether it is, going influencer to even just developing a restaurant. And a lot of those things are those situations, not really keeping up with the Joneses, but just trying to not feel pressured and not have that stress of that steady paycheck. What could you tell the people out there that are scared to take the leap? what are your advice?
Well, I would say take it, especially while you're young. And if you don't have anyone depending on you, I think it would have been harder to do it with children. You know, Josh, it was just me and Josh. It was like, well, we could live in a cardboard box together. So if you don't have kids, I think do it now. If that's something that's on your mind and you want to do it, go for it. Live different now so that you can live better later. And just realizing that like your future is going to be better.
I mean, it's scary. I mean, we can both. Also, what people may not realize is definitely in the digital age, is your mind and you and Josh minds just continuously going? Do you ever feel like you have a break?
No. Honestly, well, I think because we're in Nashville and we're Nashville Guru, it's like me just walking through a neighborhood or, you know, going to dinner with friends. I'm going, oh God, that business closed. I need to remove it from the website. Or that exterior got painted. I need to take a picture of it and add it to the website. It never turns off. But again, it's also fun and it's my job. And when I actually step back and look at it, I'm like, what you're doing is amazing compared to what most people are doing.
Speaking of which, we got to talk about Josh a little bit because we've gotten the chance to film the Walk the Line segment prior to this interview. So I really got to meet Josh and see how different y'all's dynamics is. And it's pretty awesome to see because Josh just seems like the person that is just focused on a mission, on a goal. So talk to me about that working style with you and Josh.
When I met him, he's a musician. So he was on stage playing guitar and like singing with a band. And so he's not shy, but he's definitely now more behind the scenes. He does all the coding. He does all the advertiser contracts, make sure that follows up. So yeah, he's definitely more on the business side, whereas I get to do the more fun things like this and be more out in the public. But what's interesting about Nashville Guru is we never had the website be about us. So that's a huge thing if you're starting a business and you ever want to sell it, is you don't want your face involved. You don't want to be a key man, you know, in the business, or else it's not as valuable. Well,
you know, you say that, but you know, let's go to influencers, for example. Right now, it seems like there's a lot of influencers that started just posting food or posting things to do in Nashville. And the trend now is now they're in front of the camera. Now they're doing voiceovers. Now they're trying to integrate themselves, their personality into the content. Have you noticed that Nashville Guru, have you guys started to use that approach, follow that trend? Or are you guys going to continue to be like, what did I say in the first one ever was like Gossip Girl, where you don't know who is that person?
We're going to continue to stay as anonymous as we can, solely because, you know, I think influencers are amazing and they do something completely different. Their followers fall in love with them, right? Whereas I want people to fall in love with our brand and trust our brand, because a person can mess up, right? A person can say something wrong or get canceled, whereas it's harder for a brand to mess up that bad. So I'm very glad that we've stayed sort of anonymous and we're out there. I mean, you could Google and figure out who we are, but I like that the brand stands alone and that people don't associate it with us.
I love that because I think about, and I'm going to talk to you guys real quick. I think about Heart of the Gulch. A lot of podcasts, a lot of shows are named this person's show. And the reason why I chose the name Heart of the Gulch was to encompass all of Nashville without it seeming like this is the Tony Mendoza show. I feel like exactly what you said. I could get in trouble for saying something, my point of view, and then that brings the integrity of the show completely down. So it's amazing where I'm interviewing someone like yourself and, you know, you say what you would like to say, and everyone who's on the show has a brand. So if it's up to their brand, they'll say it. And it takes the load off a little easier for me. I just, you know, I talk maybe a little bit about faith and just life, but yeah, that's all I'm here for.
Yeah. And I mean, you could, if you had several hosts, you know, because it's not your name, you could do that and expand if you wanted to.
See, just like the first interview, you keep giving me ideas and I just want to continue doing that. Okay. Well, speaking of which, you know, we're going to take a quick break right now. And when we come back, I want to talk about some more unique things about Nashville Guru. We got to talk about how Nashville isn't necessarily a kid-friendly city, at least downtown isn't. And, you know, for the folks that have kids that are watching this, where they can go to have some fun with their family.
Yeah.
All right?
For sure.
We'll be right back after this. Wintertime is almost over. Spring is on the way. So, fellas, it's time to pull out your junk and assess the damage. Trim those hedges, mow those lawns, and no, I'm not talking about grass. I'm talking about what's in between your... Manscaped new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is every man's cheat code to look good, feel good, and turn the page on confidence this year. Whether you're going for a trim or that clean-shaven look, this trimmer has you covered. Go to manscaped.com, use the code GULCH20 for 20% off plus free shipping. Abby, when I think about the Nashville Guru, and I'm going to bring this up to you guys too, if you're moving into Nashville, you probably don't know a lot of people. And especially if you're someone like me who transplanted here for a job, didn't know anyone. I swear when I first moved here, Nashville Guru, y'all's website was literally like my best friend. I could know where to go, what events were going on. And especially when you first moved to Nashville, you want to know what events are going to happen.
Yeah.
So I was literally on that website almost weekly to see what was going on this Friday, that Friday, so I can meet friends. And how do you feel about that when people are coming in?
That makes me so happy and like my heart full and makes me want to cry because, sometimes we get so in the weeds on Guru and what it is to us and that it's a job. And like, I do hear from people a lot. And that makes me so happy you said that it is their friend and it is like a welcoming place to go, to know where to go and what's fun. And it's like a simple site that like, I think you can cut through and be like, okay, I need to go to this festival or this event. And we've meant to keep it that way, but it makes me so happy when people find it and they're moving here and I don't think they ever forget it because that is the biggest thing people bring up to me when they find out what I do is like, oh my God, I found your site when I was moving here and I've used it ever since. And it could be 10 years ago. And so that's really sweet.
Mm-hmm. I mean, what's it like now when you meet friends and people that have no idea who you are? They know what Nashville Guru is. Have you ever gotten people surprised when they meet you in person for the first time? Like you just did a tailgate brew just not even that long ago. Were there people that never met you before and be like, oh you're my the God. Nashville Guru?
Everyone. Like we had Tailgate has a beer that we do with them called the Nashville Guru IPA, but we were at the East Nashville Beer Festival, and they actually started 13 years ago like us. So we're like kind of on the same anniversary as them and they're just awesome. Like the producers of that festival are incredible. So we had a tent there and we had all of our merch like to give out and we had like 400 people come up and not only try our beer, but like, oh my God, I love Nashville Guru. I had no idea it was locals that did it. Like we thought it was some huge company that, produced this content. And it was the best day like of my year, probably just to hear from all of our fans. And I, of course, was like, please like email me. I gave everyone my email address. I'm like, tell me if we can improve the site. Tell me what you want to see. Like we always want people's feedback.
It's very hard to quantify to advertisers and people that have the real money and say, hey, I know you can't feel this product. I know you can't. The only thing you can see is see this product and take our word for what we're distributing to our audience. Mm-hmm. That is so nerve-wracking because it's not like sales where you can, hold a piece of clothing.
Right.
It is literally out of thin air, out of something that you created by yourself.
Well, and it's also not print. So like we were only online where magazines could go and say, hey, we distribute 10,000 magazines. Here's where your ad will be, so they could pick up that magazine and see their ad. With us, we were like, it's good and bad to be digital because you can tell them exactly what they're getting. With print, it's like, we think everyone saw your ad. We don't know how far they got in the magazine. So it's a little bit more like, not tangible. Exact. Yeah. But it's also not exact. So where I'm like, your banner ad got this many clicks, this many views. So it's good and bad.
Is it nerve-wracking? Because every new sponsor, every new partner that you have on the site, do you expect them to perform a certain way? Has there been opportunities where you have adjusted the type of advertisement because it'll do better on the site?
Well, we turn away a lot of people because if I know they're not going to do well and our audience is not going to connect or it doesn't fit in with our content, we really only accept advertisers that fit in with content. It's something we would already write about. It's just seamless. So we turn away probably 35% of people that want to advertise, just because I'm like, your money is better spent somewhere else. And I don't want to deal with unhappy people. Like, I want people who get amazing results and come back year over year. And so far that's worked.
On the website, there are events. There are things that you can look up that's happening today. But what are some upcoming events the Nashville Guru is looking forward to?
Well, June is always CMA Fest, which is huge in Nashville, and then Bonnaroo, which is just outside of Nashville for anyone that's not here, in Manchester, Tennessee. It's like 45 minutes away. Those are the 2 June, like huge. Our July 4th guide is crazy on the site, just like where to see fireworks, what to do, the parties, the viewing parties, the rooftop parties. But summer's insane in Nashville, you know, and it's gotten more like, now certain pools are open. So we have a pools guide where you can get a day pass. You know, it's stuff just like anything summer you would think of. I mean, Percy Priest is huge. We partner with Nautical Boat Company and their boat club, and we do a boat thing with them. And so we get to do their boats on Percy Priest, and it's so fun. But like Party Cove, and I mean, Nashville's a great place to be.
It's one of the best places to be in the entire United States.
Yeah.
And you know, when I think about events, I think about the 3 holidays that I would look you guys up all the time on Nashville Guru, and I still do. Halloween.
Yeah.
Halloween is the biggest thing here in Nashville.
Huge.
I wish there was more trick-or-treating in Nashville, but when it comes to parties, there is absolutely all the opportunities in the world.
Yeah.
I think of Halloween. I think of 4th of July. Absolutely. And lastly is Christmas time.
New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve. So, what's that like on the site? Do you see that traffic really spike during New Year's Eve?
Oh yeah. Every holiday, like St. Patrick's Day is huge. You know, yeah, Halloween, New Year's Eve, 4th of July. I'm trying to think of other ones. I mean, they've become more, but those are the main ones, like any type of holiday.
What is your favorite holiday to advertise on the Nashville Guru?
I mean, Halloween's exciting. I don't, you know, and I have 3 kids, so I don't go to any of the things as much as I would love to go, and maybe I'll go back to doing that. But yeah, Halloween's probably my favorite. I just love Halloween.
I would think that the traffic would be pretty steady an entire month, because the one thing that's different from every other holiday is that Halloween is literally from the start of October to even to the top of November.
Yeah, and October's just an amazing month in Nashville. I mean, weather-wise, it's just like the outdoor movies and like Hocus Pocus playing places. I mean, I just love October.
Well, you know, we're not at October yet, but we got the 4th of July coming up.
Yeah.
You know, what is the Nashville Guru's favorite thing to do on the 4th of July? What is a 4th of July staple? 5 things that you got to do on 4th of July.
Well, we used to have an office at 5th and Broadway where we would sit up and watch the fireworks from like, you know, the 9th story. And it was incredible. Like, I think if you have not seen the downtown fireworks, you should go. I feel like people love like Daddy's Dogs and all the things downtown. Hot Chicken Festival in East Nashville is huge for 4th of July.
It's like an outdoors event. When I think of 4th of July, I don't think about being indoors at all.
No.
That entire day. Now, for the folks that are, you know, interested in seeing, you know, not only the 4th of July, but more events, I mean, what's one event or one season that you wish that Nashville would do a little bit more with?
Downtown, I've heard the complaint time over time recently that they need to be more family friendly. They need to get away from all the just crazy partying, the party buses, which like, I know it's fun and it's a good time and kids shouldn't be there past 6 or 7 anyway. Like, but you know, it is kind of hard to even go downtown because people are just so wasted.
You're absolutely right. And I think of Nashville. I don't want to see Nashville turn into, no disrespect to anyone in New Orleans, but I don't want to see Nashville Broadway turn into what's that street called? Bourbon Street. It's just too many just unfiltered things that could happen.
Yeah.
And especially at a certain point at night. But what would you say are some of the best locations in Nashville for families and family-friendly activities to do in the town so far?
I honestly think 12 South is amazing. I think Sylvan Park's a great family friendly area. Hillsborough Village for sure. And you can do downtown, and there are certain, like the library is amazing downtown. The Goo, you can create your own Goo cluster, which is like a Nashville thing to do. There's museums. Live music. I mean, you can go to, like, I would take my kids to 1230 Club, the honky tonk downstairs. Like, that's a great, clean, awesome spot that you could bring kids and listen to live music. So there are things, and like the festival, when there's like festivals and stuff downtown, I mean, they try as hard as they can. Predators games, Titans games. I mean, I think the fear for a lot of people is that when the East Bank gets developed with the new stadium and stuff, that it's going to be another Broadway and, you know, kind of make the problem even worse. And the city, from who I talk to, are doing things to prevent that. You know, like they want to put more regulations on the party buses and stuff like that. So hopefully the city is on top of it.
Do you know more or less what is the demographics or the age grouping that go to Nashville Guru? I would assume that go to your site would be between the ages of their 20s to 35. Does that sound about right?
It's funny because they've aged with us too.
Really?
Because when we started, I was 25, and that was our demographic, right? Because that's all we wrote about. Were rooftops, where, you know, the best events, where to drink, all that. And since I write about my life, like that's what I'm doing. So now that I've added the kids section and we have the Nashville Guru Kids Instagram and stuff like that, they have kind of aged with us. But yeah, the majority are like 25 to 45, I would say.
And just like how I won't touch TikTok, it's just because my age, I don't want to touch TikTok. We had Vine, RIP Vine. But do you also feel like it's going to get a little scary as we grow older? We're going to stop talking about going out. I mean, I can barely stay out past 11 now. And so is it weird that Nashville Guru is kind of like an organism, and as the older it gets, the more it may stray from the downtown events and the rooftops? Or do you think it's always going to stay pretty level?
I mean, we have always focused on locals. So we do downtown, but we're not like writing about every single party downtown, right? We used to write about more because we were going to them. The reason it's not going to age out is because we have young employees. You know, like we're going to hire a social media person that's just got out of college. I have an interview with her. I think she's the right fit. We have an employee who lives in the Gulch who is in her 20s. You know, they are doing those things even if we're not. And we also, like, it's not that hard to figure out where people are hanging out, you know? But we will do like once a quarter, go to Broadway, see what people are doing. Like we really try to get into the neighborhoods and kind of like see what are people doing? What are they talking about? Like when people get off this, you know, hop on, hop off tour bus, what are they looking for? We're really out there researching and like seeing what people are doing. And, you know, I'm on the committee of the Soho House, and like, I feel like they keep me in the know. Yeah. But you know, we focus more towards locals, to be honest. Like we love tourists, great, but we're a local website that if people find us and find it useful, great.
Well, let's talk a little bit about competition real quick.
Yeah.
Because, you know, there are a few companies, they'll stay nameless, but there are some companies that moved into Nashville that are really trying to showcase Nashville from digital platforms. And it's going to the extent now where almost everyone from the United States is starting to build a brand that's showcasing the city, right? Mm-hmm. And we talk about, you know, the Nashville Guru was the original, the OG of that. Is it kind of scary that there's going to be more influx of people developing their websites? And are you ever concerned that the audience may kind of divert? Yeah.
For sure. But again, I think just like we talked about local businesses, you know, being pushed out a little bit for rent price, like it makes all of us level up, you know, like I think fear is the biggest and best thing for businesses because you have to get creative and innovative. I don't want to be the best site because we stay the same. Like, I want to be like, oh no, these people are coming in, our traffic's dipping. Here's how we're going to level up. Because I truly believe like we know our audience and we know the city better than these people can. And that's it. You level up, you get innovative, you do brainstorming sessions and you make it work. And if you can't, That's business.
But businesses that are coming in, they don't have those connections. Would you say that Nashville is built on that relationship to this day?
For sure. I think Nashville is like the biggest small town ever. You know, you have to be friends with the right people. You have to treat everybody with respect. You can't come in and act like you're better because A, you're not, and B, that's just not how Nashville works. You know, we all help each other, even if like there is competition. That's not, I think we all believe like there's enough for everybody. And if you help each other, it's not taking the place of what you're going to get. You know, it's like then they're out there to lend you a hand if you need it. So I do think Nashville's still a small town, and we work on relationships, and we've had people that have been advertising for over 10 years, you know, that just care about us. They know that their advertising dollars are going to my kid's dance lesson, not to Chicago or New York to some bigwig that wants another apartment, you know, like, so I think people want to support local.
Can you shout out a few businesses that you work with pretty closely and, you know, you just love who they are and what they represent?
Yeah. ML Rose is one. Austin Ray over there is awesome. And Katie is who we work with on like a marketing level. Who else? I mean, Rhizome Productions is who does East Nashville Beer Works. Matt over there is great. Like he's who has worked with us all this time, advertised for 13 years. God, there are so many that we all just kind of like came up together. A lot of Strategic Hospitality was doing a lot before us, but I've loved seeing them open all these restaurants over the years and get invited to the openings and going to those, and just like, they're awesome. They're just so kind and so nice and like the definition of Nashville. And so
absolutely,
their success is like amazing. So, you know, a lot of people have been really supportive, and we try really hard to help new businesses coming that are local and are trying, and we try to give them as much as we can for free. And then, you know, there's that balance of like, we're a business too. So
is there a Nashville Guru outside of Nashville?
Yes, we have Charleston Guru. So Charleston, South Carolina. My sister lives there. We go there 4 to 5 times a year. It was a very natural progression to do it. We wanted to try a second city just to see if the business could be replicated. And unfortunately, we launched it right before COVID. So we launched the site and then COVID hit, and we were like, okay, let's see who survives COVID, you know? So we kind of paused, and now it's doing amazing. We have an employee there named Blair. She's crushing it. Like, she is so good. She's just like our employee here who also is crushing it and has been with us for 5 years. So Charleston's awesome. And then the plan is to do more and like make sure that this thing can be replicated. And it's cool because the more you have, the more traffic you get to each site, because then, you know, you see Nashville, you go to Charleston, then you go to the next city. And so we're excited to expand.
There's so many similarities between, I don't know what it is about Nashville and Charleston, and also
Austin,
30A and Austin.
Yeah.
Those are all cities that are like very much all interconnected in a way. What did you see about Charleston that really connected you with Nashville, other than you going there, you know, for family vacations?
There is a lot of overlap. Like Butcher and Bee was a huge overlap in Nashville and Charleston, and the Charleston one closed, but like Hall's Chop House came here. I think it's just, you know, it's close enough that people can expand here, and they're both, Charleston's a much smaller city, but it just kind of is like a sister city in a weird way. But like Co-op came, who does frozen, like Froze is their big thing. But we just fell in love with Charleston and the beaches and the islands, and it's amazing.
I haven't been yet, so I'm excited to one day go, because I feel like everyone talks about Charleston so much.
You have to go.
Well, you know, speaking of, you know, expanding the Guru and expanding so many different cities like Austin and so forth. I mean, how do you do all this and being a mom?
Honestly, I've learned to let go of control of the business and hire people. I think for so long, Josh and I kept it really tight, and we wanted control, and we didn't want anyone else posting on social. And we, you know, it was like our first baby. And then once you have humans to take care of, you're like, okay, someone else can do this. It's going to be fine. So really letting go of control and having enough revenue to have employees that can take care of it, and they can do it better than us, you know? So that, and then being a mom is hard. And I had really horrible pregnancies. I had like HG during all of them, which is something that they haven't studied a lot, but you're basically in bed puking the whole time. And so Nashville Guru is something that I've been able to like come in and out of, and I really respect my business because it's allowed me to like do life. You know, I honestly think I probably would have had to take like short-term disability had I been at another company because of these pregnancies. So for women in particular, it's hard. Like it's hard to have a career and start a family. And one thing that's made mine easier is having a business of my own.
Do you feel like you've lost time by any chance? Because I think about me right now and growing Heart of the Gulch, right? By the time you're done here, we got an episode releasing and I'm going to be on to us editing this. And I think about the time I was working in Hawaii and I don't know how to turn it off because you can't turn it off as a business owner. And same thing to you guys out there that are ever thinking about being an influencer or anything digital. You can't turn it off because I feel that the next big thing is coming up. But do you feel having doing this for so long, do you feel like you lost time?
I think I did at a certain point when there was sort of, you know, like I said, when I quit my job to start the business, it was like an opportunity cost because I wasn't growing in a different company and getting raises year over year. I mean, when we started making money, it was like these people starting salary 5 years ago. And so for a while I felt that way. And now I don't at all. It was like there was a time where I thought, oh my gosh, I should have been, you know, at a company grinding for 8 years and then I would be at this level. But then it sort of all evened out. And I'm seeing my friends who have babies struggle with the career and home life balance, or they're quitting their jobs because it's really, really hard for two people to work a corporate job and have a baby, you know, and you want to be there for the child. So for a while, I think I did think that I had like wasted some time, but now I don't at all. And I think of time differently. I don't know. I just think of like any moment I'm in is just the moment I'm in, and I can always work more later. But like when my kids get home from school, it's like all hands on deck. We're doing this until they go to bed, you know?
I think that's important. And what you said right there resonated with me, and I'm sure it resonated with other people there because, you know, there is never a perfect time to go into your own lane. And there's always going to be positives and negatives to anything that you do out there. So, you know, I just wonder that because there's times that I'm working here in the Heart of the Gulch and I'm just like, I looked up and I was 32. I started this when I was 30.
Yeah.
And I'm like, did I really get to live those 2 years the right way or the way that I would be if I had a corporate role?
Yeah.
And also what you said about how starting salaries, man, it's hitting me hard right now because I think about the folks that are my age working a job. They're finally getting to those senior levels. Yeah. And you look at me and I'm just like, wow, like if I were to go into the workforce today, I wouldn't be a senior. I would be almost damn near entry level. It plays with me a lot.
Well, it does, but what you're building is so different. It's like, have you seen the image where it's like this, it's a carrot and it's the stem on top and then the carrot underground that you can't see? It's like that. Like I always looked at that and was like, what you see is not what's actually happening, right? Like you're building all of this underground that has not come up yet. So you will eventually get the carrot. It's just that it takes years and years and years. And guess what? You're learning. You know, it's like, it's never a waste to learn about yourself, to learn about a new business, to work for yourself and believe in yourself. You know, you don't want to wake up in 10 years and be like, oh, I should have put more time into that. You know, I've cut out drinking. I don't really have time for it anymore. It's something that I was trying to manage and I don't think I had a problem, but I just don't have time. I don't have time to drink anymore. I have too much going on. Being a mom and being a parent, mom or dad, is hard. Your kids need every ounce of you, you know, and like alcohol was taking a little bit away from them and I couldn't do that anymore. So I'm not really drinking right now. But just being a good, better mom. It's changing every day and my kids need such different things. So
let's get down to these questions. We're going to take another quick break and we'll be right back with Crowd Noise.
Okay.
Successful day look like for you?
A successful day for me is one of balance. So I've gotten to take my kids to school, got a little workout in, maybe a sauna session, and then work for a good 5 or 6 hours, pick up kids, be a good mom, no one yelling at each other. That's a great day. And then working a little before bed.
what are some traits about Josh that you just couldn't do without?
He is insanely consistent and stable in he is someone that I love change, and he doesn't hate change. He just would never change anything if it were up to him. So like we balance each other out in that way. He doesn't get overwhelmed by the day. Whereas I can kind of get worked up with like what all is going on, and like the fact that when I'm exhausted at 3, I still have a whole other day with kids and bedtime and baths. And like, he's just a consistent person. And he's one of the nicest people you'll ever meet.
Absolutely. I love that. Okay. Let's go on to the next question here.
Interviews you've done, which one has been the most awkward?
All the interviews, which one's been the most awkward? Okay, oh gosh, I don't know if I should say this. I think sometimes people want we talk about businesses and not the owner. Mm-hmm. And sometimes people want like the photos we're taking, like they want to be in it, and we don't really know how to be like, no, we're kind of just wanting like the interior of your restaurant, for example, and not necessarily like you on a table dressed up in a shot. Does that make sense? So that can get a little awkward. Or
like business journal type shots, basically, right?
Yeah, we're just like, here's the vibe of the restaurant. We're not talking about the owner. That's just not our thing. You know, there are a lot of people that like do the individual, like interview the owner, get to know them. But we just are more like, here's where you're going to land when you get here. Here's what the space looks like. The other thing that's awkward is we will show up to photo shoots so often and the space is not ready at all.
Ooh.
So there's boxes everywhere. There's lights that haven't been hung. And we get there and we're like, could you have like given us a heads up to not send a photographer if you're not ready? So we end up just shooting around it because rescheduling it can be hard. So
valuing your time.
Exactly.
What has been one business that just went over and beyond that you could ever imagine when you were doing a shoot or something like that for Nashville Guru?
I mean, there are a lot. I feel like people are either not prepared or they're sending out every single dish from the kitchen, like overly prepared. Like ML Rose always does a great job. If we go in for a shot, they are sending out every entree, everything for us to photograph. And a lot of people are in that boat. But it is like the newer restaurants that you're like, maybe, and Josh will often do the photography. And he's like, I kind of love to see like how they treat me, thinking like I'm just the photographer and not like one of the owners of the business, because, you know, people can tend to be a little ego sometimes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, let's go on to my last question here.
Is your favorite publication you've ever been posted on?
What is your favorite publication you or the Guru's ever been posted on?
Well, this is nerdy, and I'm going to have to look at the exact company, but a fan of Nashville Gurus sent me this thing that a business guy did, and he analyzed our website. And like he just does it. And I need to I will get the name of it, but I thought it was so cool because he basically like analyzed our whole website and like kind of guessed at like what we made and what we did, and had some compliments, had some things that he recommended. But that was cool just because it was unexpected. What else have we been in? I will say publications don't really write about each other. So
that is interesting, right? That publications don't necessarily write about publications.
Well, no, because you don't necessarily want to promote it's not like competition, but you know what I mean? You're not going to be like,
What about favorite TV moments? So you've been on Local On 2. Shout out to the amazing people at Local On 2.
I love them. Yes.
What is, what's it like to be on TV every once in a while and just, pop in your face like, hey, like Gossip Girl, right? It's like, here I am.
I love it. I actually love it. And I actually did a podcast with the Titans for a while, for about 18 months. And it was so much fun. We got to interview the best people. So I love podcasting. I love being on like TV channels. I think it's so fun. And it kind of like makes me nervous in a good way. You know, when you kind of like accomplish something and you're like, oh, that was scary, but it was great. You know,
when the lights are on, some people perform or some people shut down. And it's scary when you're on a live show and you have 5 minutes to get your point across.
Yeah.
And then when you watch it, you're either impressed or you're like, oh gosh, I shouldn't have said that. So the fact is that you look forward to that is amazing.
I think this will be my favorite though, once it comes out.
Well, I appreciate that. I guess we'll find out. It's going to be out on Monday.
I like it.
Okay. So my last question, my last two questions I got on the show, and everyone knows I'm notorious for asking this question, but I'm always going to ask it. For the people that doubted you, for the folks that didn't see your vision at first, I mean, what were some of the things that you had within you to not listen to the doubts, not listen to the people that didn't believe your vision? And also, how can you help others that are going through the same thing not listen to the doubts?
Well, I think you have a gut for a reason. Like, you know, if you're meant to do something and you have to follow that. Now, we did have people tell us Nashville Guru was a horrible idea. It's not original, and it's not reinventing the wheel. Like, you don't need to do it. We had people tell us that. And I'm one of those people, just like you said, people either perform or they don't with the lights on. If you tell me I can't do something, I'm going to do it that much more and prove you wrong. So I just think if it's in you and you know that's the direction you need to go, like, you have to listen to yourself. And what's the worst case? You fail? Who cares? You're back where you were. There is no consequence. Like, when I quit the bank, they said, well, I guess we'll either see you in a year or two or we won't. And I'm like, you're right. I'll come right back if it doesn't work out.
Well, you know, that's important for everyone to know. It's that you have to just try and go for it. If you don't go for it, you can't. What's the thing? You can't hit a ball if you don't take a lot of swings at it.
Yeah, totally.
Now, 2024, we're filming this in the middle, almost the middle of 2024. And I'm curious to know, Nashville Guru, what's that looking for? What are you looking forward to? Wow, what's that looking for? Yeah, what are you looking forward to the rest of this year and coming on in 2025?
You know, I think just consistency, maybe growing, doing another city soon, opening maybe another business personally. Life is so good right now. And I think that, you know, you look around and there's so many people that aren't in the boats we're in, right? Like, we're just so lucky. We're so lucky to be where we are in the world in this time. And I just feel fortunate. And like, I'm trying to create every day as just like in my mind, like, this is probably the best day of your life because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Like, if you get sick or if you get hurt or if you get like, I just have to like appreciate every day. And so I don't know. Life's good. I cannot complain. 2024 is a great year so far.
If you had to talk to Nashville, if Nashville was across from you right now and it was a person, what would you tell Nashville?
I think I would say you might be having some growing pains, but you're going to do great, and remember who you are.
There you go. I love that. Okay, so Abby, we get to now see your day in the life. And like I said, it was already filmed, so I'm excited for everyone to see it.
Yeah.
But the way we tee it off is you look straight into that camera right there. You say your name, and you say, this is how I walk the line. And then we go on to your day in the life. You ready to do it?
I'm ready.
All right. After the applause here.
Hey guys, I'm Abby Flittner, and this is how I walk the line.
Hey, Abby.
We are at Read PR, and we're doing Flip the Script, and Amanda can explain what that is.
Yeah, so we're a PR marketing agency. We work with media professionals like Abby on a day-to-day basis, but usually it's all business. So we're getting a chance to kind of ask them some questions that help us help them in their job and also have a little bit of fun. This is a series that we're kicking off soon, and we've been talking to a variety of TV, print, and online journalists. We're going to pepper in some influencers soon, and it's really cool to hear everybody's unique perspectives on the same list of questions, as well as some answers that are universally responded to the same way.
Oh, I wonder if I'll match.
Abby, are you excited to do it?
I'm super excited. Yeah, I love every day is different for me, and this is like the fun part of my job is getting to interact instead of just answer emails.
I will say Abby and I have been working together for definitely a decade, probably closer to 15 years. So we started when we were, very young. But we don't get face-to-face time very often.
Never.
So it's nice to be able to take a little time and do this.
So nice. Hey, we're the founders of Nashville Guru, and we are back in the Gulch where it all began 12 years ago. And we love this full circle moment because we purchased our first billboard, and it's back in the Gulch.
Ta-da!